And with the extent of the history of TF2's esports scene, one might say that it rivals that of other recognizable FPS games. For example, obvious examples CS and CS 1.6 and all the others, other iterations that it has graced the series over time. And you compare that with TF2 and what it is, what it has been, what it was, and what it is right now. Do you feel like bad or sympathetic over the sort of size the scene is regarding TF2 compared to other games like CS:GO, like given how relative size that it has as of now?
That's a really good question. I can think back to I remember going to ESEA lands where the TF2 invite finals would be held and the CSGO source invite finals would be held and the 1.6 invite finals would be held. And I remember around 2013, 14, something around then when we were going, um, they actually all had about the same viewership. And when CSGO started taking off, I remember going to those lands the last 2 times they had TF2 there as well, and the shift in the the attention on CS:GO was just insane at the time. Um, I remember watching Pasha Biceps when he was on Virtus Pro, and like, yeah, Virtus Pro were there, and I remember him walking into the hotel because he was in this hotel in Dallas,
Mhm.
and there was just a line out the door of kids wanting him to sign their mouse pads, and it was that just happened. It felt like overnight. Like we went to one LAN, the same old regular thing. Like we would see the CS guys just at like the open bar, like nothing and Shazam and like those dudes, and then suddenly the next LAN 4 months later, there was just a flood of fans there. And, and it was also funny because ESEA, I don't think we're expecting that either because there
Mhm.
was just, you were in this open room. So you would be playing and there'd just be 40 kids watching behind you while you were playing. Like it was such a terrible, just janky setup. But it was in the period where I was like, wait a second, this game is blowing up. And
Mhm.
also, but that I think was a crucial time in TF2 because when we all saw an FPS game blowing up and players getting signed and making a living, I think it it made a lot of people realize that, or at least have the thought that I might be able to do the same thing. I mean, if these guys are doing this, why can't we? And that inspired some people to want to switch over to other games. Like when Overwatch came out, I think there were other people like myself, Banny, Sideshow, plenty of other people that were working on Team Fortress TV, Kurt, to try and push TF2 more because we felt like the game was amazing. At the time, I think that was probably around the era of the best viewership it was getting too. I think around 2015 and 17 or so. 2015, 2016. It's hard, man. It's hard to remember. It's crazy
Mhm.
how long ago this was now. But
Yeah.
um, at the time, I remember being very passionate and frustrated because it felt like our game is awesome. They're also a Valve game. Why can't we get the support they are with the majors? Why can't we blow up like they are? We have the item, like we have in-game skins. We have a great competitive scene. We have all this stuff going, but the game isn't being supported. So, you know, we're gonna fucking do it ourselves was the mentality. And at the end of the day, that's just what was quickly learned was that you can't have a successful modern day esport that is not supported by the developers.
Mhm.
And so at the time, it was very frustrating. And now, when I look back on that and see that the scene is still going and feel comfortable with what I did there and content with my contributions to the scene, I'm just happy it's still going. I don't, because it's just ended up being what it's always been, which is people playing for the sake of competition and because their friends are there. And that is a beautiful thing within itself. And I don't
Mhm.
think it ever needs to be more than that. And what's also amazing about it is that because it's been out for so long, I think there are a lot more people that actually know about it and are aware of the scene than you would expect. And it's not because it blew up at any given point. It's just because it's stood the test of time. I mean, the only game that's had a competitive scene longer is Counter-Strike, right? And
Yeah.
even at that, Counter-Strike had 1.6 Source, Go, and now we're heading into Go 2. And TF2 has just been TF2 the whole time. There's been no update. There hasn't been like an update, a serious update in like God knows how many years now, like 6 years or something. So it's just amazing that it's still going. I'm happy that it's still going and that people are playing it really just for the same reason that I started playing it. Yeah, I really think that's just a special thing unto itself. And there was a long time where it kind of felt like, man, why isn't everyone trying to get into other games? Why isn't everyone trying to get into Overwatch, do other things? But that's never what it was about, and it doesn't need to be about that. It doesn't need to be about getting signed. It doesn't need to be about trying to play games full time and all that. It can just be about the competition and the community. And I just think that that's a very cool thing, and I'm just happy it's still going.